Gemara says on the pasuk, "Sheker hachein behevel yofi, isha yiras Hashem hitis halal." Now we know that, or it should be known that Eishes Chayil is an allegory of our relationship with Hashem, Klal Yisrael with Hashem. It doesn't just mean literally a woman. Klal Yisrael is the Eishes Chayil of Hashem. So the Gemara says, Zu Daro Shel Chizkiah, the generation of Chizkiah Melech. What was so special about the generation of Chizkiah Melech? This is still in the first temple in Eretz Yisrael. What was special was Chizkiah one time got up and took a sword in a Beit Midrash and put it in a Beit Midrash and said, whoever doesn't learn, this is what he's going to get. A little bit strong, but they tested out all of Klal Yisrael. Parents, children, they did not find a 5-year-old boy or girl that did not know all of Hilchot Tumah and Tahara, all the ritual purity laws, a 5-year-old boy and 5-year-old girl, all around Israel. Things that we don't even know today anymore that we struggle with. And 5-year-olds knew it all over the land of Israel at the time. Sheker Achein is the Dar of the Midbar, the generation of the desert, where they had the mun and they sat and they learned. They didn't have to work. They had the mun and they had the water from the Be'er Miriam. And Isha Yiras Hashem Hitis Halal, the one that fears Hashem, she shall be praiseworthy. What is that? Zeh Dara Shel Yehuda Bereb Eloi. This is the generation of Yehuda Bereb Eloi, the son of Eloi. That what? Shel Yumit Shisha B'Talis Echad. They would sit and learn Torah, 6 people under one talis. Sounds very nice. I mean, so the standard explanation is 6 people in one talis means they were bone poor. If they can't afford more than one talis, and 6 people have to get under one talis, they're bone poor. Yet they were given over to the Torah. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says no, that's not the pshat. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says, did you ever try 2 people under a piece of clothing? It's already an effort. Forget about 6. 6 is almost not realistic. How do you get 6 people under one garment? Only if you say, come, you got to fit in here. Come, you have to fit. You also, we're all going to fit in here. We're going to do it. Because they all loved each other. That's what the Isha Yiras Hashem Hitis Halal is. They loved each other, and even though they were all bone poor, and they all learned Torah together, but Reb Chaim says that's the pshat. They all loved each other tremendously. Now, last week's parsha we said, V'yahavta l'recha kamocha. Love your friend as yourself. Love your friend as yourself. So there's a lot of sayings about loving your friend as yourself. In our generation, we have beautiful mitzvahs. We do, our tefillin are much nicer than previous generations. But in V'yahavta l'recha kamocha, sometimes our Beinam l'chaveiro is sometimes lacking. So there's a saying from Yisrael Salanter says, V'yahavta l'recha kamocha. If you love yourself, when you love yourself, do you say Hineni Muchar Muzuman in the morning? I'm going to love myself. I am now prepared to do the God's mitzvah. I'm going to love myself. When a person loves himself innately, hopefully if he's healthy, then he loves himself innately. So just like you love yourself, not l'shem shemayim, don't love your friend l'shem shemayim. Love your friend because he's your friend. You love yourself, love him also. That's the mitzvah. Don't love your friend l'shem shemayim for the sake of heaven because I'm doing a mitzvah. He's not my project. I'm not his chesed. Love your friend because you love your friend. Because you love yourself innately, so love him also. That's what Yisrael Salanter says. But the Bali Musar discussed the whole idea of love altogether. What is love? What is love? A love of parents for the children is loving the extension of themselves. Right? The children are an extension of themselves. So it's natural. Hashem put that into the creation. We should love our children. Baruch Hashem. It's in Chavos Alvavas. One of the greatest chasadim is that Hashem made children that they're nice, and they find favor in our eyes. We should want to raise them. And on the other hand, Hashem did a favor to the child. The Chavos Alvavas says Hashem did a favor to the child that he's born and not having full knowledge, because when a person has full knowledge, it's very hard for him to accept favors from other people. And we know at the other end of the stick, sometimes the older people, when they need help from other people, it's very demeaning. So children don't have that full knowledge, so Hashem enables the parents to take care of the children no matter what they look like, no matter if they have to be cleaned, etc., etc. That's a chesed Hashem gave to mankind, that parents should want to take care of their children, and children should want to be taken care of and not push it away. But that's one type of love. And that type of love is a very intense type of love. It comes from two parts. One part is that they're a natural extension of us. The other part is that we don't have a choice. We have to invest in them, which is the next part I'm talking about. The Bali Musa asked, what comes first, love or the caring? And you'd say, you love someone and you care about them. But the Bali Musa say, Rav Elia, not Elia Lapian, Rav Elia Dessler, Michtam Eliyahu, says that the caring is what makes the love. The more caring, the more investing, the giving over that a person does, and thinking about it and working on it, that's what creates the love even more. And you have it in good situations and sometimes in not good situations also. Sometimes a person could be very ill and someone takes care of him, and he has operation, Baruch Hashem, he got better. So in a good case, so that's a good, they lost the focus for a good reason. Baruch Hashem, someone got better. Hopefully that'll be with Yosef also. Then we'll have to move on to other things. Bezrat Hashem. But sometimes you hear even Shalom Neidah. Someone, they sweated it out for years and years. Someone was terminally ill. We shouldn't know from such things. And all of a sudden he died. And the person taking care of him is, what do I do now? It's like he lost his anchor. Where does that come from? Why did that person become his anchor? It's because he invested his whole life in him. He loved him, and he loved him. Each time he did something for him, he loved him more. And that's what it's all about. There's a concept called Meis Mitzvah. Meis Mitzvah, a Kohen is not supposed to touch anything that's not pure. He's not supposed to touch a dead person that's not from his immediate family. However, if he happens to be on the road, even the Kohen Gadol, if he happens to be on the road and there's a person that needs to be buried, a Jewish person needs to be buried, so he has an obligation. He can't say no if there's nobody else around. If it's nobody else around, he has to do it. So the Bali Musar also talk about, I say Bali Musar, I hope that the people that worked on character development, I said it a few times, that the Bali Musar from Rabbi Lapian, Rabbi Leib Chasman, and Rabbi Cyril Salanter discuss the idea of, so they talk about, there's yeshivas have a regular schedule. When it's not in a regular schedule, so someone who takes on that extra learning, that's Meis Mitzvah. Because it's a mitzvah, no one else is grabbing, he's grabbing it, he's cornering the market on that mitzvah. Right? That's another level. But actually, each one of us here has our own Meis Mitzvah. We have our family, we have our children, we have our parents, we have our own obligations that no one else could fulfill for us. No one else. That's our Meis Mitzvah. It's our responsibility. Hashem created the world, we all need each other, and we all help each other. And that's our responsibility. We have our own Meis Mitzvah. And we invest and we invest and invest, and we love and we love. And that's what it's all about. Matan Torah is coming. Everyone talks about the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva, how they didn't respect each other. It's very hard to say, but according to what I saw in Siftei Chaim, Rabbi Chaim Friedlander, he says that they did respect each other, but it was hard for them to accept. Everyone was trying to serve God and be the one to serve God. So in a way, when someone else was serving God, they felt like they weren't the main act anymore. It's a hard thing to understand. But even though they learned b'chavruta, they learned pairs. It doesn't say 24,000 Talmidim died. 12,000 pairs died. Because the whole structure of yeshiva is that people are together and they build each other up. And yet, even though they're building each other up, there was still an element of a competition. And that was really what it was. It was a competition. It wasn't like, oh, I hate his guts. And everyone was trying to do something, to be the one. And you know what? If he's the one or if he's the one, we're all the one. We're all doing what Hashem wants. And like we said before, we all have our own Meis Mitzvah, whether it's in our families and it's whether it's serving God. There's a famous quote the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, a birthday is, and if it was your father's birthday, a birthday is God's statement that the world is a better place with you in it. That's what a birthday is. That's a quote from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So it's a better world, and Hashem has us here for a purpose, and we we can look at ourselves and see what our purpose is. And a lot of that, it has to do with love and caring and investing in everyone around us. There's also people that look beyond the regular pale of their immediate family. There's my friend Yosef, for example. His first wife passed away like 18 years ago, and he went out and made a non-profit called Be'ahavat Yisrael, with the love of Israel. That was to worry about Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. He moved up north, and actually he was on a Moshav, and he was watching how Eretz Yisrael is up for grabs. Bedouin farmers come and chop open fences, take the cattle, take whatever they want. Now in the next generation, they steal solar panels. That was a long time ago. Now it's solar panels. Whatever it is. Whatever is not tied down to the ground, and even if it is, it doesn't matter. And then the land itself. They come into a nice olive grove. All of a sudden you see a house there. When a Jew wants to build a house, permit, this tax, another permit, another thing. And an Arab will come with his truck, with his tractor, a few holes in the ground, foundation, voila, a house. So he took it upon himself in the beginning to start organizing land groups, Jews owning land. And when there was Moshavim, where they already had, the land was owned by Jews, to try to organize more Jewish labor and let the Arabs work elsewhere. Because an Arab works in a place, then he's basically staking out the joint. What am I going to steal, and what land? Maybe I'm going to build a house here also. And that's what they do. They stake out the joint. And he organized Jewish ownership, Jewish labor, Jewish presence. All these things are very important if we're going to keep our hold on Eretz Yisrael. We could throw up our hands and say, we don't care, but that's exactly what we're basically saying we don't care. If we don't do anything about it. He also started to treat the soldiers, to give the soldiers the treatment they deserve. He'd go all the Chagim, give out packages for the soldiers every Chag to show that they're appreciated. When we sit home, I mean, these brochures, it's very sad. The Rosh Hashanah brochure. We're sitting home enjoying our dinner. On Rosh Hashanah, we had a great davening, and they're sitting in a pillbox and things like that. So he went out of his way to take care of those things, to make sure the soldiers felt that they're appreciated. It's a big thing. A soldier feels he's appreciated. Anybody who feels he's appreciated, it's day and night. It's a different type of the same job. If you say thank you to someone in the morning, I'll digress for a second. There's a story of a doctor in Vienna, a little bit before Kristallnacht. The elevator man said, "You guys pack out, leave. There's going to be an action. There's going to be Kristallnacht, and they're going to clean out this whole building. Everyone in this building is going to get killed." He says, "Why are you being nice to me?" He says, "Because you said good morning to me every morning." There's little things like that make the biggest difference. But it's digressing, but it's not really digressing, because this is what it's all about. Just being a mensch and derech eretz and love for our fellow man. So back to Yosef, we were talking about treating the soldiers nicely, making them feel appreciated. These are all things that we could think about. We have our immediate families we think about, but sometimes to think out of the box, to think bigger, and that's where Yosef is. And chesed is a big thing, but chesed, when you're not healthy, is mesiras nefesh. Mesiras nefesh. It means when a person has to climb out of bed because he was knocked out from dialysis and do the same thing everyone else does, and also try to take care of Klal Yisrael, that's like, it's humbling for the people that are healthy. I mean, I'm humbled by it. Baruch Hashem, Hashem made me healthy. Therefore, the grace of God go I. But it's an amazing thing. It's a big inspiration to me to be working with Yosef. And Yosef himself, doing all these amazing things, needs a kidney transplant. He already had one 8 years ago. That kidney failed 5 years ago. He's on dialysis at night. He prefers at night like this. He can still work a little bit and hopefully feed his family. Because there's a thing called daytime dialysis. You can go 3-4 times a week, and then you don't have time for anything. 3 nights a week, 7 hours a night, and then he has some time in the daytime to do something to try to help Klal Yisrael. And if we look at it, we're approaching Matan Torah, and Matan Torah is all about Benam L'Chavero. Why? How do we know that? Because the days before Matan Torah, Rosh Chodesh Sivan, it says, V'yichan Yisrael neged ahar. Klal Yisrael encamped. V'yichan, and they encamped, but it says it in Lashon of singular. And they didn't say V'yachanu, and they as a plural encamped. It's almost like he encamped. Ki ish echad b'lev echad. That's the drasha that we say, that the Jews were as one heart before Matan Torah. And that was actually a prerequisite for Matan Torah to be Ki ish echad b'lev echad, to have as one heart, to be all united. To be united, that's what it's all about. And they took that Ki ish echad b'lev echad, and with that they were able to receive the Torah. They were able to receive the Torah because of that Ki ish echad b'lev echad. And that's why, on the other hand, we have to learn from the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva also. We want to serve God, but let the other guy be in it also. Bring him in. Like the first thing we talked about, Shisha B'talas Echad. You want to have Shisha B'talas Echad to cover him up in your same garment as you? Very nice. Do that also with the mitzvah. Bring him into your mitzvah also. Bring him into your Torah. Share that Torah. Share that Torah. I'm wondering why I'm here, just to say a Dvar Torah, because I could have stayed in Eretz Yisrael also. There's a story with Rav Kahanaman that Rav Kahanaman went all over the world. They say that there's a proof there's no man on the moon because Rav Kahanaman would have gotten money from him. That's what they say. So he went all over the world trying to fundraise, and he came back once in a big university, got $1 million, boom, like that. And he says, I'm going all around, and what's going on? So he went to the Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish says, you're going because you're going to meet some people and you're going to teach them Torah. That's what Hashem wants. That's why Hashem makes you go out to get that money, because you're out there and you're going to teach Torah. But those people, the university, now university is maybe in certain ways less insidious than it used to be, in certain ways more. But we're all people that go to work for the Parnasa already. But then it was like the bastion of, in Israel at least, it was considered a bastion of kafira, of non-Jewishness. So they said, so Chazon Ish said, Hashem gives them their money, let them have their money. We don't want them going around saying the merits of this and this university with their anti-Jewish values. But for you have to go around and teaching. So it could be that I came for this. I hope that something was taught or something was learned, and I hope I learned something also. And I thank everyone for this opportunity. I thank Ezra and the Rav, and Ezra really exemplifies somebody who goes the extra mile. And I thank the Rav again for allowing this opportunity to take place. The presentation of the different things that Yosef does.
Sure.
And a short 7-minute, 8-second presentation, right? Something like that. And thank you very much.